For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on your favorite podcast app. I'm excited and nervous because, are you ready for this? We are live this Friday morning, right? None of this pre-taped crap that we do. I got to tell you, we sometimes pre-tape episodes. I think we, if I'm not mistaken, we actually have our second episode for the new year, January. We have our second episode, I think, already taped. And then we've got one or two in December done. And then we've got some for November already done because I don't work. After the American Thanksgiving holiday at the end of November, I'm basically done for the year. So we're very efficient here with our scheduling. But we're live on this Friday, September 24th. And this is also exciting because we've got a guest joining us. Now, you see, part of the reason why I signed off of my syndicated radio show 15 years ago was because live radio is such a clusterfuck half the time, where you do these phone interviews and the person can't hear you, we get disconnected. Now, thankfully on the radio show, we can just drop in some music and continue on. And if I'm not mistaken, there was one time, I don't remember who the guest was. Oh my god, who was it? We had a celebrity guest. Somebody, we can find the clip, I'm sure. I don't know if we'll have time in this live show today. But I said, okay, let's go. It was Super Nanny. Thank you, Tim. Super Nanny Joe Frost. We're going back at least 10 years now. And she was on. We had just talked about the top 10 toys that Hasbro was giving away. We did a giveaway for the Christmas shows. And then the next segment, or the segment right after, was Joe Frost talking about how not to spoil the kids for Christmas and how to keep things, not have them in sensory overload. And I was laughing because I just do that introduction, and then all of a sudden she's saying, I can't hear Jeremy. Jeremy, what, like, it's hard to hear him. And I thought, okay, good. We're live and Joe can't hear me, but yet we can hear her complaining that she can't hear me. And so I said, great, let's get back to the music, whatever the song was. And then they tell me in my ear, we don't have any music. I said, great, let's go to a commercial break. And they said, we don't have a commercial break either. Vamp. And if you're in broadcasting, TV or radio, the word vamp, that's a four-letter word you just don't want. If you're put on the spot, you have a technical problem like that. Generally, the default, if you're a broadcaster, is, we'll be right back. You know what, let's get that, we'll take a break, we'll be right back. And then they tell you, we don't have any commercials, so let's go. And you had to vamp. And so I think I did the entertainment headlines. We had, something about Lady Gaga or somebody in the news, and so I just had that sheet of paper in front of me. I said, great, let's go to the entertainment headlines. This is my best vamping that I can do. And then Super Nanny did come on a little bit later. So there you go. I've just pissed away 3 minutes of the show, you guys, telling you that story. So let me tell you who's on the show today. Jann Arden, music legend. She's got a sitcom, season 3 on CTV, aptly titled Jann. Returns to the TV airwaves on Monday. And this is also the fun part of being live, is that when Jann was on the radio show with me, now I'm going to go and say about 5 years ago, we were pre-taping. We had, usually they were 8-minute segments, so I'm guessing we had 8 minutes with her. We ended up talking about between 40 and 45 minutes. And the funniest thing with this was that I was flying out of town the next day, so I taped this in my home studio. I have a home studio at my house. This is all before the corona crap. And my mom was coming to get my keys because there were times, like, she'd watch my house if I was going away for 3-4 days at a time, before the days of husband watching the house and everything. And she knew that I was doing this interview, and it was winter. It was just beginning of December, I think. We were promoting Jann's Christmas album. She was coming to my hometown. She was doing her performance. And I thought, oh crap, my mom was coming over at, let's say, 6:30. I don't remember what time. But my interview was at 6. My mom is coming 6:30. I figured that's plenty of time to tape an 8-minute interview, right? It's not going to run. And Thank God my mom didn't ring the doorbell. But I guess what was happening was I had my dogs in the studio with me, and I had the door closed just so that they're not going back and forth, and, because if she would have rung the doorbell, all hell would have broken loose. And that's a really embarrassing thing. If you're doing a celebrity interview and then all of a sudden you hear a doorbell and the dogs go... Now, probably not so much, right? Because there's a 50-50 chance somebody is recording their show at home now, given, podcasts and pandemic and what have you. My mom was standing outside at the front door, knocking, and I could faintly hear it. My studio, my home office, or my studio in my house is at the back of the house, and my mom is at the front. I could hear the light tapping. Thank God she didn't ring the doorbell. And I was like, oh my God, I hear it, but the dogs are out cold, so we could be okay. And my mom, she's freezing outside. And then I'm looking going, oh my God. And again, like I said, 45 minutes. So my mom was basically standing outside. And then she starts texting me on my cell phone. I see it blinking and lighting up. And I was just like, so I just wrote back. I said, still talking to her. And then she's just, well, I'm not going to wait here all night, by text. And again, if I could have got up and just... Maybe when Jan was talking, I could have just left my seat and then, ran to the... But then the dogs would get up and there'd just be this noise. So there you go. There's a behind-the-scenes story that you probably weren't expecting to kick off the show. But anyway, Jann Arden is coming up in just a few minutes' time. Yes, and then I've got some cheapskate tips for you. I was just looking because I've talked so much. Are we going to go right into Jan? No, we've still got a few minutes before she's calling in. The cost of everything is going up nowadays, and so because I'm a best-selling cheapskate author, we were discussing about some of my ways to creatively save and spend money, and just mostly with food, grocery shopping, ordering food. I'll tell you about that coming up, along with Jann Arden, right after this on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in. Jann Arden is about 8 minutes away, but let's talk about saving money. Now, I wrote a book called The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate. That's because my hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba is known as being a cheap city. Now, people use the word thrifty, people use the word frugal, it's just trying to pretty up the same goddamn word, which is cheap. And it's actually sort of a badge of honor in Winnipeg if you're a cheapskate, a self-proclaimed cheapskate, because you actually go around and you tell people how much you saved on something, right? So if somebody says, I like your shoes, you go and say, got them on sale, got them on a discount. But if you were to go to a city like Toronto and call somebody cheap there, that's an offensive remark. That's like name calling. You'd probably get punched in the face. But yet in Winnipeg, it's something. And so I wrote a book called The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate. It was a bestseller probably about 8-9 years ago. And then we actually have it's basically the same book, but it's called The Official Guide to Being a Canadian Cheapskate and The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate. Now, the thing is that the book has absolutely nothing to do with Winnipeg, my hometown, which was the genius marketing behind it. So really, it's creative ways that you can save and spend your money. Now, when I did book signings back in the day, believe it or not, I actually had several people confront me. I'd be sitting at this table, this unknown, this nobody, and people would come up and they'd look at the book and they'd say, you know what, you're what's wrong with the economy, or you're hurting the economy, you're what's wrong with today's, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you obviously haven't read it, you don't really get what it is. It's actually telling you, here's ways that you can cut costs so that you have more money to spend on those luxuries, the other stuff that you want. So I'm not saying hoard your money, hide it under your mattress and don't spend a penny. I'm saying here's the ways that you can, nickel and dime your own life so that you can take an extra day for the vacation when you go away. Or you could, it's things like that. And so one of the big costs that people have been incurring, obviously now that school is back in session, people are back at work, is food, right? You have your meals, lots of people are eating out. How many times in a workplace? I imagine working at a reception desk right now in a busy office, you have food delivery coming, every 5 minutes during the lunch hour or even throughout the day. And so I have always had very, very strict rules about grocery shopping in my house. And let me tell you some of those thoughts right now. Now, we all have those things that we're craving and we go, or maybe we'll buy it because it's on sale, whatever food items there are. Well, when I first got my house almost 14 years ago, I had a full fridge, right? Everything started to go bad, though, because it was just me living there. And I wasn't eating all this stuff. But again, the novelty of having full cupboards, full fridge, full everything, right? Very soon I was just like, wow, crap, that entire bag of apples that I bought has gone bad. Oh, wonderful. And so I ended up doing a total 180 with my grocery shopping. And now what happens, and I still do it to this day, and my husband hates it, is we cannot go grocery shopping until the cupboards and fridge are almost literally empty. Now, of course, you're still going to have, salad dressings, barbecue sauce, whatever, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actual food. So that package of rice that you bought that you didn't want, or the can of soup, or just stuff in the freezer. We all have, so you've got to chisel that stuff out of the freezer that's been in the back for 4 years. And that's exactly it, right? And so it's basically me punishing myself and saying, this is crap that I bought that I didn't want, that I didn't need, but it's here, so I'm not going to throw it out because I wasted my money on it. It's a punishment for myself. And you damn be sure that those last 2 meals, I call them the punishment meals, are just, terrible. Because I'll look and I'll go, okay, well, I've got rice, and then I had potatoes, and then I had some other randomness, like in the freezer, and those were my last 2 meals. But I can't go grocery shopping until it's basically gone. Because and it actually is quite disciplinary, where you do start to remember now and go, you will second guess things when you're getting them in the store. And one of the other things that I like to do is, if I do have to wait in line, for every minute that I'm in line, it's also punishing the store, I will put back something that I got. So that's also my test, is that when you're how many people are standing there scrolling on their phone, or, they're totally just killing time while they're waiting in line because there's nothing else to do. I'm looking at everything that's in my cart or my basket or whatever it is, and the longer you make me wait, the more stuff I put back. And that's just what I do now. So I'll look at that and go, didn't really want those. Didn't really want that. And then when I get up to the cashier, I will give those items back now and say, don't need these things. I mean, I'm not telling off the cashier going, fuck, you made me wait. This is back. You're taking it back. I don't want it now. But it's just something that I do in my head. And I'm sure the cashiers hate that. They always get those things handed back to them. And just a note to shoppers, if you're going to change your mind on something frozen or from the dairy case or something, either go and put it back, because I hate seeing that, where you'll have like a carton of milk and you wonder, it's sitting on the counter there going, has that been there for 4 hours? That's probably not very good. Or you find it on a shelf down the aisle. I'll admit that I will not put things back in the right spot if it's just, a box of crackers or something. But if it's a perishable, like if it's, a refrigerated or a frozen thing, I will go. I might not put it back in the same spot in the freezer section, but I will return it to a freezer. So I'm meeting you halfway there, grocery store staff. Now, the other thing that I do when it's time for ordering food. Now, I hate cooking. I absolutely hate it. My husband is a fitness model, so, he's Mr. Jim, and everything is, flavorless and cardboard anyway. But ordering food is something that I would prefer to do rather than cook. So this is the thing. I'm not saying don't order. They also have those support your local restaurants and things like that. I'm starting to trip over my words because they're counting me down, going Jann Arden in 2.5 minutes. And so I will order food, but here's the deal. Let's say I'm ordering burger and fries. This is an example. It's very easy to go and say, I want to add cheese, I want to add bacon, I want to add chili, I want to add gravy, I want to add this, I want to add that. You add cheese, bacon, and gravy, and at some restaurants, you're basically adding another $5, $6, $7, maybe $10. Yes, maybe $10 to your bill. So what I do is I order the food. I'm still supporting local. I'm still going to order from that restaurant. But if I already have slices of cheese and bacon in my fridge and a package of gravy in my cupboard, well, I'm going to use that stuff first. I'm going to use my own ingredients. I've already paid for that stuff, and it's cheaper than getting it from the restaurant. Trust me, if you're going to gouge me $2 or $3 for 2 pieces of bacon, you know what? It's worth it for me just to go. And what I do then is once I've ordered the food and it's on the way, so let's say the restaurant is 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away, or the driver is driving there, so I've got 20, they've got that countdown clock as well. That's where I'm looking at it and going, okay, now I can head to the kitchen. I'm gonna cut the cheese. I'm going to do up the bacon. I'm gonna have the gravy in the pot going. So if I time it correctly, then my food will arrive, and then I can take it right into the kitchen, and I will have my extras. Maybe I'll even have my own barbecue sauce. Not that they charge you for that, but or if they didn't have pickles or something, or they charge you for pickles, well, then I'll just use the ones that I have in the fridge. So again, I'm still supporting the local restaurant, but I'm saving money by using the ingredients that I've already paid for that would potentially be going bad, right? Cheese and bacon will go bad in your fridge. So, there you go. One other quick thing. I know they're counting me down. One more quick thing is that I have a reward system. So it works on children. Parents, you can do this for yourself. Do it to yourself. You always say to the kids, right? Here, if you do this, I'll give you this, or we can buy this. So my thing, like I said, I absolutely hate cleaning the oven or whatever. So if I know that the oven needs to be cleaned, I will not let myself buy those new wireless earbuds for my phone until I clean the oven. And it really does, again, put things into perspective and make you go and say, how badly did I want those earbuds? If I want the earbuds bad enough, I will do the chore. If not, no earbuds. And again, it sounds so juvenile. It sounds like you're treating yourself like a child. But it really does work. So put these things out there where you've got to finish the chore to get the reward. I do it for the adult system. All right, we've got to take a break. Jann Arden from the hit CTV sitcom Jann will be joining us right after this.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
She's back for season 3 of Jann on CTV. Joining us now is Jann from CTV. Jann Arden on the line. Hi, Jann.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm excellent. Good to be here. I'm looking forward to everybody seeing the new season. It's very exciting. And it seems like, it's like a 3-year wait in between all of these television seasons. I'm so glad that we're inching towards it now.
I mean, time has really thrown everybody for a loop. I have to say, the last time that you were on with us talking about a Christmas album and tour seems so long ago, and not much has changed in the world since then, eh?
Oh, man. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I think we've all learned that time is, when you want it to go by quickly, it doesn't. And when you want to savor it, it just disappears. So I think, it's, none of us can believe that it's been a year and a half since all this stuff started, and going forward, hopefully, things will start feeling a little more like how life used to be. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go day by day right now, hour by hour in some cases.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start with the hard-hitting questions here. As an actor, was it difficult to get into character as a recording artist? I mean, did you have to study anybody? What was your inspiration?
Yes, well, thankfully, I've done a bit of singing in my life, so it was, it's such a fun, weird world that, has been created. The writers are so clever, and the character that I play, obviously, and thank God, really has nothing to do with how I make my way through my life. She truly is someone who doesn't care what happens to the people around her, basically, and she doesn't care about repercussions, and she doesn't care what anyone thinks, and there's something very liberating about portraying someone who just is fairly self-serving and just makes decisions based on what she thinks is best for her.
I mean, the first scene is basically what everybody was doing during quarantine, right? Though, eating in bed, ordering everything online, and just wasting the day away. So, there's almost some true-to-life scenarios there.
Yeah, that was our homage to COVID for sure. we when we went into this season, we were shooting in March, and we just didn't want COVID to be part of that television world, so we never addressed it. It just doesn't exist in Jann's world, and we're really glad we did that because it's. But we also wanted to pay tribute to the people that were, like you said, literally ordering pizza in bed and working from bed and watching TV from bed. And everybody suddenly turned into Brian Wilson for a year and a half.
So I have to know then, did Jann Arden, not the character, the real person, did Jann Arden order anything crazy, do any online shopping during lockdown that showed up and you're like, what the hell?
The only thing I ordered that was a little bit questionable was a block of yeast from China. I wish I was lying, but all the yeast had flown out of the shelves, and, I wanted to make some bread probably, and I found out later that this yeast that I had ordered from this, it was probably Amazon, but it had come, when I got the package in the mail like 6 weeks later, it had been flown from China, and I felt so bad about it that I vowed to never, ever order anything from Amazon again. So far, I've been successful.
Well, I mean, I was searching Amazon for a Jann Arden cardboard cutout. Couldn't find one, though.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find one. Hey, you can probably get one made. There's so many places that print stuff. You could literally steal a picture off the internet and have your own Jann cardboard cutout probably within 24 hours.
Oh, come on. You have one in your house. You just don't lie. I'll get one. I'll get one of myself. It looks like it's a fun...
No, I do have it. I stole it from the set. It was one of the last scenes we did in season 2, and there was a big cardboard cutout, and I sort of yelled into the air, "Can I have this?" And they're like, "Yeah, but we might need it next year, so make sure you bring it back." I'm like, "Okay."
I don't want to give any spoilers, but I have to know, have you ever just got onto the kitchen counter and partied down just for the hell of it?
I have seen people partying on kitchen counters over the years. I remember quite a famous opera singer that I'm still friends with today was on a kitchen counter, like dancing after having a bit of wine. But yeah, there's so many things to look forward to this year. Who doesn't like partying on a countertop?
Do you have a favorite scene already? Mine, and I don't know how much we can talk about, but already mine is skydiving. I think that was hilarious to watch.
Yeah, it's really hard to do, actually. If you've ever done indoor skydiving, which I certainly hadn't done until I had to do it on the day, it's really hard to breathe. Because contrary to what people think, you do not have a fan blowing you upwards. You have a fan sucking you up from the ceiling. So it's not what you think. You're like, oh, the air will be pushing up against me. And no, you're being sucked up. Mm-hmm. And it is a very weird feeling. The kids love it. They're so intrepid. They get into those tubes and they just fly around, well, as you're supposed to do. Yeah. I just felt like the air was literally being pulled out of my lungs and that I was going to have a heart attack. I wouldn't recommend it. And I know that's terrible, but I would not recommend it.
Well, I mean, my first thought when I saw the scene was I was wondering if this is a stunt double or the real Jann, and then I saw the outtakes. So how much of that was actually you on the show?
I can't tell you how much of it was me.
Okay.
But I can tell you that I absolutely had a stunt double.
Okay.
But I can tell you that I was absolutely in that thing flying around and terrified. So it's cut very evenly between the two of us because there's camera angles that I literally just had to be in there doing it. And trust me, I will never do it again. It's right up there with wandering around the CN Tower for me.
Let's move on. So do you have a favorite scene from the upcoming season?
I have a lot of favorite scenes for sure. There's lots of great costumes. I think anytime the family's together for big dinner scenes or big kitchen stuff, when there's so many moving parts and the director has us going every which way, it's always so fun. But anytime we can have the whole gang on set is fantastic.
And there's nothing like picking through a lost and found and getting a new outfit.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I've actually gone through many a lost and found in my life. Certainly not in the last 20 years, but early days. There's some really good things to be found in a lost and found.
Oh, what was your best find?
I can't really remember offhand, but I'm sure I scored many gloves over the years. from a Lost and Found. I would always wash them.
Well, of course.
I believe probably when I was about 15, 16 years old, I got a badminton racket out of a Lost and Found, and I used it for years.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to be watching. Jann is back on CTV. Jann, when can we catch Jann? And that's Star. When can we catch the show, if I need to clarify?
It premieres Monday, September the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern on CTV.
And that's...
And, if you've got the old satellite dish, there's probably 3 hours in which you can catch the show, depending on what part of the country you're in. My satellite dish allows me to watch the feed at 6 o'clock in Calgary. So I'm ahead of everybody. It's fantastic.
Technology is great. So we'll tell everybody, be responsible when you grab some gummies and get ready to laugh, right, Jann?
Be responsible when you're doing edibles. Read the package.
Yeah, I laugh because everybody has no idea. If you guys watch the show, you'll understand all these references we're making, okay? All right. Well, the legendary Jann Arden. Thank you so much for joining us, Jann. Great to chat with you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. I have to tell you, I had not, if I can be honest, because Jann's off the phone now, I had not seen her show until yesterday. And it's already season 3, because unless it's a show that I cover for the radio or podcast, I don't watch. I have my regulars. I'll still watch Three's Company, Golden Girls, and Married with Children, and Seinfeld, Will and Grace. Okay, so I watch all the old stuff. I stopped watching all, America's Got Talent, all those things. The Emmys I barely got through last weekend, and I don't know. I'm not into the new TV thing. I've never been on Netflix. I've never used any of those streaming services ever. And so when CTV had said that, Jann's doing interviews and we can chat with her, they sent out the first 4 episodes of the show. That's called a screener. Let me give you some insider information into the broadcast world here. And so they sent the screener, and then I watched the 4 episodes the day before. And it's genuinely a really funny show. And I guess just because I haven't watched a new sitcom recently, I think probably the last one that I watched was Mom on CBS, because Allison Janney became a good friend to our shows back in the day. But and I can't even think. Maybe 2.5 Men. Now that I think about another CBS show, was the last new-ish sitcom that I watched. Anyway, so the Jann sitcom is very, very funny, and it's just so cleverly written. It's very fast-paced. It is also just, it's so Jann. If you're familiar with her and her music and her personality, and you've gone to one of her concerts and the stories that she tells, like, you almost, when she said at the beginning that, she's playing this character that's not like herself, I mean, it's just, I almost wanted to go and say, like, are you sure? Because that's sort of, like, we all just kind of laugh along with you. But it is a very funny show, and it does stream online. So if you're not in Canada and you don't have CTV, check your streaming service, because it could just be on there. Jann, Jann. So, thanks to Jann Arden, and if you wanted to check out the rest of our celebrity interviews from the radio show, from the podcast, you can go to speakfreecelebwatch.com and have a listen to them. We've got hundreds of interviews on there. Speakfreecelebwatch.com. They go back probably about almost 15 years, I guess. So, we've got a shout out to Twitter, and I'll be right back right here on The Scribble.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
My God, it is like being on the radio again. They're counting me down. We've got less than 30 seconds. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. My email address is live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, and we were this Friday, September 24th. My name is Jeremy Bradley. Talk to you next time on The Scribble. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,